Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 12th of April, comes to you from London. And we start just by looking at the usual mix. We're seeing mixed colours on the screen. Stocks generally lower, commodities higher. And bonds higher, and we'll take a little bit more of a look at the bond market today. So looking at currencies first, the dollar continues to be strong, bullish above all three time frames, weekly, daily and 60-minute chart. If we're above the cloud, we're bullish. If we're below the cloud, we're bearish. And we've got this upside target on the short-term point and figure target, some 3.5% higher. So back above 100 this morning on the dollar index, so making two-year highs, so that's quite significant. The euro sitting at 108.60. All eyes really now on French elections, and we've got these downside targets there, so that's jittery for the markets. The yen continues to fall further against the dollar, remembering that the dollar is quoted the other way around against the yen, and testing this high we saw back in 2014-15. So will that break higher? That's the big one. We've got a big upside target that suggests we will. Sterling just sitting on 130 dead, so we're right on that 130 level, and that's the level we saw in March as the low, a support level, but we are falling through the cloud, so that stronger dollar really having the impact there. And if we look at euro sterling, we see that sterling also has the upper hand here, medium and longer term as well. Bitcoin sitting at $40,000, so falling back a little bit, but still just sitting on the cloud here, coming back to fine cloud support. So bullish on the medium and long-term time frames, but we do have some short-term downward pressure. The S&P 500 index fell quite heavily yesterday, down 1.7%. The Nasdaq was down even further, really looking like we're putting in the lower high, getting ready for the lower low. And don't be surprised, if you look at this on the Nasdaq, don't be surprised to see a new downside target being generated here. And of course, the next time we make a new low, the price will be through on the weekly, and on the daily we're still bearish, and below 13,000 we turn very bearish. Looking at the futures this morning, they're flat, so the market looks set to open flat there. The VIX volatility is up slightly in the mid-20s, so markets are looking set to be fairly quiet today. The FTSE futures down 1/3%. The DAX in Germany down 1%. Just couldn't get above that 15,000 level and falling away. Again, watch for new lows here and a new downside target being generated. Japan was actually down 1.4%. That plummeting yen, whilst it's good for Japanese company results, such a big fall is starting to have quite a potential impact on inflationary pressures on Japan. Looking at the Hang Seng, we're up 0.5%, and China actually recovered up 1.5%, but still on the verge of breaking below the cloud there. The Indian market down 0.5%, again, just pressures with inflationary as a net importer, and the rupee falling as well, which we highlighted yesterday on LinkedIn. The Aussie market, little change. We'll look at the energy mix in a minute. Looking at soft commodities, they're all pretty much up. We've got wheat up 2.4%, so that's now going into reversal, looking for another rise. Maybe that wasn't the top after all. Corn up 1%, and again just nudging that new high level. Gold is down very slightly this morning. Precious metals down. Palladium was up 4% yesterday, down 4% today. That volatility really showing through in palladium prices, so quite significant there. Copper is getting set to break, and we are just short term, just back below the cloud, but the medium and long-term chart's still bullish. And looking at 10-year yields sitting at 2.82%, so we're really just pushing on here. We've got targets of 284, 294 is the target, so 3% bond yields looking very, very likely now. And if we look at my global list, which is what I use to produce my global report every month out to clients, if we look at the global list here, we see very much that the markets are looking interesting in government bonds. These are mostly yields, and they're up. The 10-year bond yield sinking lower. That is really breaking the trend. We're about to deactivate a downside target, and we've got downward targets for another 3% further on the actual bond, and of course that means that the yield is rocketing. So we're really seeing that. German bond also, this is the Bund future in Germany, falling away quite heavily. We've been pointing that out to clients for some time, and of course we're seeing Italian bond yields really rising as well. And some of these other bond yields, so if we look at things like Russia, of course that bond yield really spiked higher. India sitting at around 7% on their bond yield, so really surging higher. So we're seeing real turmoil in bond markets. Looking at Brent crude, we're seeing here we bounced yesterday on this support level and we're just breaking back through the cloud. US nat gas looking strong, sitting at $6.8, so looking strong there. Coal holding its gains again, looking strong there as well. And if we look at emissions, we are seeing here that we're just struggling still in the 70s, really in this stuck in this sideways range. Gas prices have reversed this morning. We see TTF up 3%, MBP up 4%, so we are just seeing stronger gas prices there, and German power up 1.8%, nudging these new highs to 200 euros, so looking quite strong there. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.